As recently as last September, a proposition was brought to Congress within the United States on whether or not companies should have to label foods containing genetically modified organisms. The proposition did not pass. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, refer to a laboratory-based technique where a foreign gene is inserted into the DNA of the plant. This is an uncontrolled process because the site of insertion is random and may potentially damage the plant's genetic makeup, and may not produce the exact same result every time. 90% of genetically modified crops in the United States are produced by a single corporation, Monsanto. There is concern for the potential future implications of genetically modified foods on the environment, as well as the humans and animals who consume them. Others are disturbed by the economic monopoly that Monsanto currently has over the agricultural market. With all the recent news and articles that are flooding the media, many Americans are asking themselves, what are GMOs, what do they do, and how do they affect me? There is a lot of information circulating, so to be well informed on genetically modified organisms, the facts have to be separated from the myths. Fact: genetic engineering involves the removal of genes from one species and placing them into another in order to create a desirable trait in the latter, such as bruise-resistant tomatoes or rice fortified with vitamin A. Myth: this is a safe and natural extension of plant propagation. There is nothing natural about the lab work done to the plants, and the safety of GMOs is still very unclear. Fact: corn is the #1 crop grown in the US, and nearly all of it, 88%, is genetically modified. Roughly 93% of soy and 94% of cotton produced in the US are also genetically modified. Myth: genetic engineering reduces pesticide use. Genetically engineered plants have led to an increase in the use of pesticides as nature adapts to become more resistant to the plants, creating a need for stronger pesticides. Fact: genetically modified crops cannot be controlled outside of the lab. They will spread to surrounding areas, such as other farms or natural plant habitats. Myth: Monsanto claims genetically engineered crops have a higher yield and will ultimately bring in more wealth to farmers. However, the seeds of genetically engineered crops are more expensive than those of conventional crops. Farmers in the US report that yields are generally no better, the crops less reliable, and overall have not improved profitability. Farmers growing genetically engineered crops have to sign binding contracts with the biotechnology producers, committing them to using only the herbicides produced by that company and prohibiting the traditional practice of saving seed for the next season. Myth: genetically modified organisms and genetically engineered crops have both been extensively proven to be harmful for humans, animals, and the environment. Fact: there is no conclusive research that says genetically engineered crops are harmful to either human health or the environment. When people are given all the information, one thing is clear. Neither those for or against GMOs have been able to prove their argument that they are either harmful or helpful. This can be frustrating for the average American consumer, who is trying to decide what is safe to feed both themselves and their families. This is why it is important for consumers to stay educated on companies like Monsanto and take part now in deciding the future of GMOs. We need to be aware of exactly what we are putting inside our bodies. What does this mean for the future of natural plant life and the agricultural market? Only time will tell.